In this video, we will discuss surface analysis. If you'd like to follow along with this video, please open the file 0513 surfaceanalysis.dwg located in the training folder as discussed in the Working with this dataset video. Civil3d has tools that allow you to see any kind of surface analysis that may be necessary during the design process. Some examples of surface analysis are elevation banding, slope arrows, and so on. Let's examine the workflow for displaying surface analyses. We'll first set our surface to display a slope banding style. Before we do so, let's go ahead and look at the style to see how you define any kind of the analysis. If I go to the Settings tab, Surface Category, Surface Styles, here's an existing one called Slope Banding 2D. I'll double-click it to open up the Surface Style dialog box. In the Analysis tab is where you define all of the different types of surface analysis. So I can define the different schemes and settings for directions, elevations, slopes, and slope arrows. So we'll expand slopes, and there's the default settings that will be applied to this surface when this surface style is applied to it. Notice how you can exaggerate the elevations to see a different display of your tin, and so on. Also in the Display tab is where you tell Civil3d which of the surface analysis you want to display. I'm going to select my surface, go to the Properties palette, and just quickly change it to Slope Banding 2D. And just like that, it does a slope banding analysis. Now, of course, this is probably not exactly what you want. You want to define a specific banding that you need to display for this surface to better help you in your design process. For instance, I only want for this design 3 bandings, 0 to 5%, 5 to 10, and then 10 and above, because based on the geographic location of my project, I am not allowed to design anything in the 10% or greater area. So, with my surface still selected, I will go to the Surface Properties dialog box. There's an Analysis tab, and in the Analysis tab is where you define any of the different analyses and how to customize the actual banding. I'll select slopes, and the ranges that I want are 3. And so here is where you actually add in the analysis you want to run. And just like that, I now have a minimum to maximum slope analysis divided into 3 bands. I'll click Apply to show it, but we obviously want to edit these. To edit these, you simply click once and then kind of click again. So I'll just type in 5% for that. For this one, I want 5 as well. And then I'll change this to 10 for the maximum. And then for the last one here, we simply want 10 and above. So whatever that maximum slope is, we don't really care. It's just basically saying from here to here, we cannot build our site and so on. I want to change the colors because in my opinion, they always seem to be backwards. You want red to be the bottom and you want like a yellow or a green to be the areas where you can build. I'll go ahead and select the red color just by clicking on it. This opens up the Select Color dialog box. And I'll go ahead and we'll select a yellow for 0 to 5. And then for 5 to 10, we want blue. And then for 10 and above, we want red. Click OK. And there is our new surface slope banding. If you want to define a legend table for this surface based on the slope banding, you simply click on the Labels and Tables panel in the Add Legend. So we want a slopes banding table. You obviously want it to be dynamic, so it updates automatically if you change any of the slope banding, and basically define the upper left corner, and you now have a table in your drawing that is reading the slope banding defined in the surface. Let's create another surface style that does the triangles and the slope arrows to see how our surface flows. I'm going to scroll up to the tin editing surface style, and I'm going to right-click on it and select Copy. And for this one, I want to leave on the triangles and the border. I'm going to toggle on slope arrows. I'll go ahead and give this a name, and we'll call this Triangles and Slope Arrows. Then I'll go to the Analysis tab and Slope Arrows, and just look at some of the default settings here. I can change the arrow length that gets displayed. I can change the scheme here if I want it to be blues, greens, etc. So let's go ahead and just change it to blues. And we'll leave the default settings because we're going to actually change them afterwards. So again, just verifying the Display tab that we have triangles, the border, and slope arrows. And let's say we may want to rotate this surface's view orientation. So I'll go to the Model tab, and we'll also add in that same visibility. Click OK. And now I'll select my surface and apply that surface style to this surface. Click Apply, and then click OK. And now, if I hit Escape to clear my selection set, I can see a nice general direction of how the surface is flowing. Notice how our roadway is obviously draining on both sides. So surface analysis really helps you analyze your surface to help you better in the design process. This concludes this video discussing surface analysis.